Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, we're going to continue the series, as I promised, about what are the best DPS heroes that you can build for the Continental Challenge bosses or the Chaos Shadows bosses, which obviously they're the same. It's just, if you do the Continental Challenge first, they're going to appear in all over Nytheria and Southern Ardentia. They're part of the Uteor event, but afterwards, once you unlock the end game and you get into the Sanguine Snowfield, they become the Chaos Shadow bosses, which randomly spawn around this map, and that's what you have to fight. So I have already covered, if I'm not mistaken, the Poison one, then I have done the Lightning DPS, I have also done Fire ones, and most recently I've done the Radiance ones, which were obviously the the rally one. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about what are gonna be the best Frost DPS heroes that you can build for this fight. But before we jump into that, I wanna go and have a look at the boss that we're gonna be facing, which in this case is gonna be the Bionphray boss, okay? This lightning tank, which is arguably the hardest and most annoying one to face. The reason for that is because of his skills, okay? So first of all, on his passive, after releasing the skill, the next basic attack will cast Aurora instead, taunting enemies within range for 3 seconds and dealing derivative lightning damage, and grants himself a shield. Okay, so people are gonna be melee, are gonna be taunted. That's the first problem. Then second one, he gains control immunity for 5 seconds, and then he's gonna rage his Rizzy Giant Axe. He's gonna deal damage in that area, again melee and AoE, that's gonna inflict stun. And then on the ultimate, he does damage in that area that you see, okay, 520 lightning damage, gives himself defense up, and then he will be electrified, okay? After that, what it means is he's gonna randomly just keep hitting people all over the map, dealing the lightning damage and stunning them, okay? So the main issue, the main problem that we notice with this boss is the fact that you do not want to bring melee DPS, okay? Because, well, he does so much stuff around him and in the small area, and then again, same thing, small area around him, that basically what this tells you is melee DPS are going to be useless from my point of view, because you're going to have to try and build them to survive, to not be stunned, and to also do damage, which is going to be a no-no. If you want to get somebody in there that's going to do damage, they're gonna have to be ranged, okay? So that's gonna be the most important thing to keep in mind. So now let's go and look through the Frost DPS and let's see which are gonna be the best ones that we can use for this fight. So we're gonna start with the rare ones. Let's have a look at, I mean, some of them honestly I've not played that much with the Frost ones, but I guess if we do have a look at some of these, we're gonna easily be able to see which ones are gonna be good. So as an example, the first one is Vojesh. He does decent damage in an area. Then he also has a 100% chance to inflict frost even without scrolls, so he's gonna be a good candidate. On the battle skill, he deals damage and gains accuracy up. Accuracy up is not that, not that important, but if you would build him as a frost enabler, this might help. However, you're definitely going to build him with the enough accuracy to land this one, so he's not too special. Then when enemy inflicted with frost ice, he's going to gain attack up. That's never going to happen. So Vojesh goes out of question. Then the next one, Mountain Keeper Zethos. Again, kind of a same principle. So he after he casts the ultimate, his basic attack will throw ice lances, okay? They're gonna deal 250% cold damage, but also have a good chance to inflict frost. However, it's only for 5 seconds. That's not good enough of a period, even though it's like, it's every 10 seconds, then at the end he deals, let's say, the last hit. He still keeps frost and then comes back to it. He might be good, but I'm not sure he's that worth it to build. Same principle here. He can do like 500% attack with frost, and then on the battle skill, when the hero inflicts frost on enemy, their next basic attack is increased by 50%. So he might have some good damage capabilities, but I'm not sure if he's the best. Again, some of these I might not be 100% sure if they're melee or ranged, but I think he's definitely going to be a ranged one because he has ice lance, so lances, he's going to throw them. So not the best, but not the worst. He could be a good option. Then Gulal, honestly, I'm not even going to talk about him. He's just not good enough. He deals some damage with attack penalty, and then a little bit of damage here, and then a passive with the summon. He's not good enough because, honestly, you're going to try and get people in here that provide you frost, because that's the key for these ones. Having people that have frost, that's going to help you with that. I'm not going to go over supports much. maybe just a few of them, but I'm mostly going to cover people that actually, like I said, do damage or are going to bring some frost and some other stuff in there. Refi, again, she's melee, not the best. Wilt, again, can have some potential in there because he has a big area, but the chance to land frost is not good enough, and it only lands for 5 seconds, so he's just, man, like, it's just not good enough. He just does not bring enough potential for this fight. One of the ones that I'm sad, it's Usha that we cannot really use. I mean, you could try and use her builder with lots of attack because she gains some shield and attack speed off on her battle skill. She can do some insane damage, but the problem is if you want her to land frost as well and do damage and survive, it's not going to do much. Because like I said, the main problem with melee DPS is they're either going to be stunned, they're going to be taunted, you know, there's always going to be something that's going to keep them busy so they cannot actually do their skill. So unfortunately, Usha does not do good enough. And I actually tested her. I actually tested Usha and some other melee DPS, and they just did not do as well as some ranged ones. Now let's move over to the epic ones. So one of the ones that I really want to mention, also because of the boss's kit that can be useful, even though he's support, is Voresh. The reason for that is he brings you the buff prohibition that's going to block the boss's increased defense, okay? The boss does the increased defense on himself when he procs his ultimate, which means you're going to do less damage. So bringing Voresh in there, he's going to bring in buff prohibition. He can remove buffs on the battle skill, and also he can heal. So he's really versatile. He's ranged, so he's obviously going to be an amazing one to bring to the team. Even though it says support, he's going to be a good DPS. The only thing that he does not bring that would help all these DPS is the frost, but you would have somebody else in there. You could consider Voresh being your DPS, okay? Because your healer, sorry, because you don't have that many healers in this in the frost. Actually, I don't think there's anybody that does any healing. Then the next one that could be interesting, but again, same problem, is Olgun. He's melee again. He's one of the best. I always talk about him. He's one of the best, if not the best, melee frost enabler, okay? Because he always has this frost that he casts around him. He always places that. But again, same principle. If you want to bring him for damage, he's not going to do that because you're going to want to have resistance on him. So he always has a chance to do his skills, which means he's going to take away from his damage. So unfortunately, Olgun's not that good. Pargu is another one that's a bit quirky. He doesn't bring frost. He can bring some good damage, but there's too much randomness in what debuff he lands, so I don't really like him. Like, I know some people like him, but I don't think he's good enough for this fight, plus he's support. Now, one of the best, if not arguably the best epic when it comes to landing frost, is going to be Rava, okay? Rava does an amazing thing. Like, she has this ultimate that places an Nexus that every 1.5 seconds does an attack and has a 100% chance after scroll of landing frost for 10 seconds. Then when that finishes, it explodes and deals some more damage. So not only will she deal damage, but she's going to place a lot of frost from the ultimate. Then on the battle skill, again, 3 hits that can do a ton of damage with, again, 100% chance of landing frost for 5 seconds. So this one's not a problem because it's only for 5 seconds because it's on the battle skill, okay? Everybody else you saw landed it on the ultimate for 5 seconds. She does it for 10. And then the battle skill, she will also gain more attack the more frost is on the field. Obviously, it's going to be only one boss, which means only one target, so 15% extra attack all the time, but she also brings crit damage in all battles. So Rava's 100% going to be one of those ones that you will want to build. Now, if you move over to the next one, Rowena can be an amazing one because she can inflict frost and she can deal some really good damage with this one. Then on the battle skill, again, really good damage, and she can place frost. Look at this. Even on the battle skill, she has a 100% chance to land it basically for 10 seconds, which means she should keep frost up all the time. So if you don't have Rava, you could use Rowena instead. And she also ignores 20% defense when attacking enemies inflicted with frost. So Rowena, one of the best ones, definitely keep her in mind. Then if we move over to Galdros, honestly, he's a bit of a quirky one. Like, this recharge speed penalty could help, but you cannot knock back, you cannot stun the boss, so that's not going to help as much. He does have attack penalty on the battle skill that could help, but I'm not sure if that's reason enough to build him. Maybe with this quirky passive, you could see some use. So you know what? If you don't have enough better DPS to bring, you could use Galdros, but I would not suggest again because I don't think he brings enough, and especially because he doesn't bring frost, he's not going to be the best in there. Then the next one that could be interesting is Lathander, but I feel like Lathander's more, he's better when there's wave content because of this passive, because whenever an enemy dies, he gains the remaining ultimate energy. So that's what he specializes. He does bring decent damage on this one, but you can all land Frozen. And on the ultimate, you can land recharge speed penalty with some decent damage. But again, is it good enough? I don't think so. I do not think so. So Velis is another one that seems like he could be interesting, but he's kind of quirky. And, this passive is useless because you're never going to have invisibility. Then he can do a little bit of healing on the battle skill, which it has a pretty high recharge time. And then the ultimate just does not do enough damage, and this one's not high enough chance to reduce the ultimate energy, okay? Because it's like a hit twice to enemy, hits twice, hitting the enemies by 320% each hit. And with only what's this, 65% chance to reduce ultimate energy. I'm not sure. Honestly, I did not test it. Maybe this is enough, but because it's not 100%, I don't think Sovelis brings enough. Not enough damage, not enough healing. He's a little bit of in between, so I would not talk about him. I would not use him. Vidimir is it's a quirky one again because he seems like he could be good because he brings you attack in all battles. He could bring some damage with this one, but unfortunately it doesn't work because he jumps between targets, so it's only going to hit twice. And also the problem is he's going to remove Frost, okay? Every time he hits, he's going to remove Frost, and you don't want that. You want Frost to stay there so you can do as much damage as you can. So Vidimir's not good enough. Now, this one is one that I do not have, but that can be really amazing, and that's Dorkuraz. The reason for that is because he has a really nice kit. On the passive, his basic attacks have a, 85% chance of dealing derivative damage and inflicting Frost for 5 seconds. So he's almost always going to keep Frost on if you're going to give him accuracy. Then on the battle skill, he deals decent damage to enemies within range. It's an AoE. It's only obviously going to be single targets because it's one boss. But this is the fun part about him. He has a 75% chance to land Frost. That's not too crazy, but this is the important one. Recharges ultimate energy by 25%. So because this one's on a battle skill, he's going to do it so often, and he's going to keep coming back to his ultimate that deals pretty good damage, and then he gains attack up for 10 seconds upon hitting enemies with Frost. So it doesn't seem like a lot of damage, but because you have this derivative damage that can keep happen, plus this one with the attack up, he can deal a pretty solid amount of damage, as he's going to come a lot back to his ultimate, again, because of that battle skill. Now, if you move over to the legendaries, well, you might have Dritz. He might seem like somebody that you might want to use, but again, unfortunately, he's not good enough because he's melee, and same as Guinevere. He has some amazing damage potential with this one, plus he can land Frost, plus he has a really interesting passive with Guinevere, but from my testing, again, melee units are just not good enough for this fight, so unfortunately he's not going to be a good one. Again, Okadir, same principle, he's melee, it's not going to be that good. Trollgar, same principle, melee. Trollgar can do some crazy damage. I know Scratch is a really big fan of him, but again, because he's melee, he's going to be not the best. He's not going to be able to put up those good numbers. Now we're going to talk about arguably the best one out here, and that's going to be Oster. Okay, maybe second best because there's still one out there, but Oster can do some insane amounts of damage. And the thing is like this. He has a crazy passive as well. When shooting an arrow with the basic attacker skill, the hero fires a tracking arrow at up to 2 enemies, inflicting frost, dealing 40% inflicted with frost, dealing 40% cold damage to them with a 100% chance of inflicting frost. You ignore the frost part, you just see this part. Every time he does a basic attack against people with frost, he's gonna do 40% extra damage, plus he has a really good attack interval, but not only that, damage dealt by the tracking arrows also increases the hero's ultimate energy by 2.5%. So basically he's just gonna keep boosting his ultimate energy every time he does basic attacks, so he's gonna come back to the ultimate a lot. On the battle skill, he can do a ton of damage with this one, and it also has a 50% chance to ignore 100% of defense. So again, can do some crazy damage. And then on the ultimate, this one can hit really hard, okay? This one, it does say like, okay, only 500% attack with 100% chance to inflict frost. You ignore the frost principle, the part of it, because you're not going to care. But the tracking arrows attached to this skill will fire at all enemies within range and deal 80% attack. So this one's going to do a solid amount of damage. Honestly, when I did my fights with, I had him, Rava, Voresh, a tank, and then Adventurer as Ice, he was at like 60 or 70% of the damage done by himself. Ulster is just a beast. He is just a beast. Then Lucian again seems like he could be interesting, but same problem. Doesn't bring frost. He's melee. He's more of a tank, so we're not talking about that. Losenia's one that can be really good because she brings, first of all, a Captain Aura, 30 attack in all battles. That's massive. Then she has the battle skill that basic attack casts an ice ball that bounces between enemies, dealing 100% cold damage. Obviously, it's going to be only one hit with a 100% chance of inflicting frost when it hits. So she can be a good frost enabler. The ice ball bounces up to 2 enemies, doesn't matter. Skill prioritizes enemies that are not inflicted with frost. So for other areas, she can be amazing to keep placing frost. But on the battle skill, marks an ally for 6 seconds. Every 1.5 seconds, the marked ally deals 115% cold damage to surrounding enemies with a 100% chance of inflicting frost. I have not specifically tested this one, but if she lands this on the tank, I don't have her so I couldn't play with her, but if she lands this one, if she places this one on your tank, tank's gonna be doing a lot of damage through her battle skill, which can be crazy. And then the ultimate, which is pretty amazing, summons an ice tornado at a designated location that lasts for 6 seconds, dealing 136 cold damage to enemies within range every 1 second. So this one's like up to like 800%, 900%, with again 100% chance of inflicting frost, but only for 5 seconds. So I guess she would be really amazing, not because of the ultimate for frost, but because of the battle skill, okay? Because of the passive. She can keep the frost up all of the time, or you can just build her for damage and ignore the frost mechanic. Because at the end of the day, that's how I suggest. I suggest you build only one person that specifically has good enough frost that keeps it up all the time, so you don't have to build every single one of your DPS with accuracy, because that's just going to take away from their damage. And now we're going to talk about, I think this one's actually the best of the best. She's an exclusive after all, and that's Vitar, Lady of Gale. Her damage potential is insane, and she's known to be a goddess in Arena. This aura just tells me that again, because her aura is for Arena only, but she has some quirky stuff in here. Like she has a wall of text on the passive, changes the weather to Ice Wind for 15 seconds as the battle starts, while Ice Wind is in effect when enemies are inflicted with frost, deals 22% derivative damage. So unfortunately, this one only works for 15 seconds where that's gonna happen, so this one's not gonna count much after the battle continues. The execution part again is not really gonna work, but it says that boss units are immune to the execution, but will receive an extra 600% derivative cold damage instead. So this one can bring some crazy damage to those bosses. Then on the battle skill, unleashes Frost Breath, dealing 320% cold damage and with a 75% chance to land frost. Again, she would not be a frost enabler. And then on the ultimate, she's the, she can do full board damage, changes the weather to Ice Wind. So again, she can keep changing that, which means, I forgot about that, which means this one's always going to be there. So the boss is constantly going to take more derivative damage. But with this one, she does the Ice Wind, 15 seconds. If you have a little bit of skill haste, that's always going to be up. She deals 640% cold damage to all enemies. Each enemy under frost on the battlefield increases the damage by 15%. So because you're going to have somebody with frost in there, this one's just going to do more damage. And I think that's it, because the last one, Yuran, is just a tank. So this is going to be it for the video today, guys. Again, I hope this helps you. Hope this gives you an idea of who you should focus when it comes to the Continental Chief challenges and when it comes to the Chaos Shadows. That's specifically what I'm covering for this one. If we're talking about other stuff, Usha would have been in there, okay? Usha, Dritz, Olgan, they would have definitely been at the top of the list. But because we're talking specifically about the fight against Bionphray, you need to have ranged ones, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do damage. You're always going to be taunted, stunned by him, and it's going to be a problem. But yeah, anyway, this is going to be it for the video today, guys. I think I have one more to go through, and I think that one's going to be the Necrosis one. And this one's going to be a little bit of a tricky one, because there's different tactics on this one, okay? You're either going to go with lots of summons, or you're going to go with some control stuff. So I'm going to have to see how I'm going to talk about this one. Plus, I don't have enough experience with these. I didn't play much with the Necrosis. But anyway, this is going to be it for the video today, guys. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.